Hi, welcome to the Songwriter Diaries. This is a podcast all about picking the brain of every songwriter that you know. So grab a glass of wine and join us. My name is Megan Ellsworth. My co-host is Caroline Stump. This is the Songwriter Diaries. We're all depressed, so let's write a song about it. Hello.
Hi, I'm yawning.
Welcome to the podcast. Thank you for being here virtually and chatting with us.
Yeah.
Why don't you start by just introducing yourself, and telling us a little bit about your musical journey?
My name is Emma Rose. I have a last name, and my last name is Finders, but I go by Emma Rose. Um, and I play upright bass and guitar, and I write songs in my own band called Sound of Honey, and then I play upright in various bands, but mostly in Big Richard now, in the bluegrass-ish world.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Nice.
Fabulous.
Do you want
How
me to
did
get
you?
more into the journey?
Yeah, give more info.
Yeah.
Dive into your whole life story.
Yeah, tell us everything.
Well, I grew up playing bluegrass music because my parents were in a folk duo when I was growing up.
Cute.
And so that genre of music has always just kind of been embedded in me, and it's very homey and nostalgic feeling. And then when I was probably like 16, I discovered other kinds of music. And I was like, cool, I much prefer this to bluegrass. And I started like writing my own songs and taught myself to play guitar. And I was always in orchestra and choir, so I played a lot of classical bass upright. And then I sang in a lot of different choirs. I did like all state choir and the whole shebang.
Yes, all state choir.
Yeah. And then I graduated high school and I moved to Austin, Texas right away. I was going to go to CU Denver. I was enrolled, I was ready to go. And then I was dating a man that lived in Austin, and I flew there to visit him during South by Southwest. And I was like amazed at how people were playing music out there. I was like, I could just come do this. I don't need to like go into debt. I didn't have any money. So then I came back home from that trip and I was like, I'm not going to go to college. Like, I don't want to do that. And then I moved to Austin 10 days after I graduated high school. And I started playing bluegrass down there again because I met a crew of really cool younger bluegrass players, and I feel like I kind of developed my own love for it through them. So I started doing that, like, and I realized it was a good income source playing bass in bluegrass bands. And then while I was like writing songs on the side, kind of doing my own thing, um, and then I moved back to Colorado like 3.5 years ago and first started playing my own music out. And yeah, I think that over the past 3.5 years, like despite COVID, both things like my solo career and my like side man bass career have both really flourished in this time.
That's amazing.
We love to hear that.
Yeah.
Wow. I didn't know you lived in Austin. That's so cool.
Yeah, for like 2 years, I think.
Cool.
Nice. And what would you say the biggest difference between are you based in Denver in Colorado?
Yeah, I live in Denver.
What would you say the biggest difference between the Denver music scene and the Austin music scene is from your experience?
I feel like Colorado in general is a very like lacking culture kind of place. I think that there are a lot of people that move here and live here to be sporty. And I think that that's awesome. Like, that's an amazing thing. Like skiing, hiking, climbing, rafting, whatever people do. Like, I think that's great. But I think that it kind of like I think that's the majority of people out here. And there is a scene of some kind that's happening, definitely bluegrass wise. Like, bluegrass is a very popular genre among those kinds of people, I think. And so Colorado is a great market for that. But I think that the art scene in Denver in particular is just, it feels kind of like mysterious and lacking to me a little bit. And I haven't lived here that long, so I like totally am speaking from a recluse place of having been alone in my apartment for like the whole time I've been here. And then I go on tour, and then I come back and I just hang out at my house. But I feel like in Austin, there's not that like you have to really intentionally want to move to Austin to go there, because Texas sucks politically. It's a very beautiful state. But, if you're choosing to move to Austin, I feel like you have to be like, I'm going there for this reason. And it's not like, the art scene there and the music scene is just so full of unique, like wild, peep Austin weird, like that's everyone there is very weird and like really just diving into the community and building this really unique, like people are really into art and music there. And I think that is the case here, but I think there is a little bit less of a open mind for it, if that makes sense.
Interesting. That's a really interesting take. And not one that I've heard before. So I love the honesty. And I love like brutal honesty. That is, yes, yeah. I love that.
And again, like I'm not super in any of the scenes in Denver, I wouldn't say, other than the bluegrass scene. Like I know that exists, but I didn't go to school here. So I feel like I don't know of like a lot of cool communal artistic things that people are doing together. Yeah. There's a couple of them. I think you were a part of like Mona and Dia's zine release party, right, Megan? They did like a zine release. What's it called?
Oh yeah. I was a part of that. That was great.
They're doing really cool shit. Eman Alexander is doing every Wednesday. That's a really cool thing. But those are kind of the only two like things that I have seen so far.
Yeah, I feel like the difference is, I live in Nashville now, so every music is thrown in your face every 5 seconds.
Yep.
And I would say in Denver, there is a music scene that is flourishing, but you really have to look for it. It's not just there for you to take you in. You have to seek it out and try to become a part of it. It takes a little bit more effort, I think, than it would I haven't been to Austin. I'm going for the first time. So if you have any recommendations, I leave in 2 days. I'm so excited. But I think that in both of those places where music is such a staple, it's very much like you're welcome with open arms within, a very short time, because that's all there is,
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's not just even, it's not just music either. It's like just art in general and people creating new things and like there being like a space for that to be happening, and I think it's just too like the layout of Denver. There's not a lot of like gathering places for people that aren't like bars where you're like hanging out at night, which is cool. That's cool. And other people's shows, obviously, like that's a big hang for people. But I don't know, like in Austin, there used to be all these like crazy art shows / music events, lots of bands, like every night you could find something like that going on,
Yeah.
And I miss that.
Oh.
You need to make it happen. You could start a festival.
Yeah, let's start something.
Time that I have.
Do it. Yeah.
You have so much free time, don't you?
Yeah.
What do you mean? You're not doing anything. Yeah.
Well, let's move on. How do you begin writing a song? Let's just dive right into the deep end of songwriting.
I feel like, I guess like the mechanics of how I do it are I sit down at my desk where I am right now, and I start playing the guitar. And I taught myself guitar, so I don't really know what I'm doing ever. I just kind of make things up. And so I just kind of start doing that, and I'm like, does this resonate with me? Do I feel what is happening here chordally? And is that a word, chordally?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
That's totally
Great.
a word.
Awesome.
I didn't question it.
I didn't either. I was like, yeah, sure.
Yeah, and then I just kind of like sit with some music that like I make the music, and if I'm feeling that, I sit in it and I feel it and I feel what it makes me feel. And then I like, I kind of like to write songs by painting pictures for people with words. Because like all of my favorite songwriters are like, I'm listening to their song and I'm like, what does this even mean? Some of the first couple times I can't even understand what they're saying. And then I have to listen to it like 6 times. And then eventually I'm like, these lyrics are so mysterious and vast and could apply to like 1,000 different scenarios. And I feel like that is some of my favorite songwriting because, the songwriter had their experience when writing it, but then the listener can have their own completely different experience. And it's not so on the nose that they can't like apply their own things to it, And
Yeah.
I think personally, and I guess I get direct for sure in some of my songs, but for the most part, I just try to like paint pictures of scenes. So I kind of just do that, and I start to write the words. And I don't know that this is the most effective way of songwriting because I have started like 80 songs that I really need to finish.
Mhm.
Because I don't have a structure. I'm not like, I for sure want to write about this. This is the form. This is like the story that it's going to take. It's kind of just like, I don't know. I'm just like painting with my words and with my weird guitar skills.
That's
Yes.
cool. I
Yeah.
like the analogy of the painting.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you just created a perfect segue without even knowing it to our next question, which was, do you typically write from experience or do you take on the stories of other people or characters or a world that you create yourself?
I think some of both a little bit. I mean, I think that I, as a person, as people do,
Not as an alien.
I feel like I've like developed an aesthetic in my writing, like a kind of vision that I have of myself as the songwriter, the artist. Like I have, I write about rain a lot. I write about like coffee, like classic like songwriter shit. And so I think that I like mix that kind of like imagery in often as like this projection of myself or of the image that I'm seeing in my mind. But mostly I think it's a collage of different experiences that could be going on in my life right now, or like could be going on in other people's lives that kind of fit into this kind of aesthetic, I guess.
I love all of these analogies to physical art. That is so interesting. I love it.
Yeah, and like you were talking about physical art like in the beginning and how that's in Austin, so it's really cool that it seems to be like a big part of you as an artist.
Yeah, I do paint a lot.
Oh, cool.
So
You paint?
Yes.
Wow.
So
that's just unfair that people have multiple talents, you know? It's like, oh, okay, yeah, you can write, you can sing, you can play bass. Oh, also I paint, by the way, just on the side, casually. Okay.
I definitely can't do anything else. So
you're like, you listed my whole resume. Just that was it.
Really hard into something like.
Well, what do you think makes a good songwriter, or like maybe a good song?
I think that it's all interpretive and it's all good. None of it's good or bad, you know.
Yeah.
Everyone has their own, like, it's such a tape, like it's like a, I don't know, you can't label it or put it into a box, like how people feel about songs, because everyone is really, really different, obviously.
True.
But I think for me, like, I love when a song, like I said earlier, like when I want to listen to it like 8 times in a row to really hear the lyrics, because I'm such a lyrical person that I like listen to it until I can know what all the words are and then kind of ponder what they might mean. And then too, like, I love when the chord progression is just like yanking at like my heart, you know, like I feel like I love fucking sussy, like washy vibe chords, you know, that's kind of like really my vibe. And then if the words, I think if the words are like poetic and if the words are subtle and like direct, but intentionally when they need to be direct, I really like that.
Wow. Yeah, we like all the same things, and it makes sense why I like your music, because I hadn't listened to you. I mean, we just met today.
Hi.
So I hadn't listened to you, and I was like,
we need to have Emma on.
Yeah, I was like, oh, okay, I need to listen to her stuff. And listening to it, I'm like, oh, I kid you not, I played your oh my gosh, what was it called? August.
See you in
song.
August. Yeah.
Yes. I played that song 10 times in a row and I was still not tired of it. I was like, I could keep listening to this. It is so good.
Oh.
And it has all of those qualities you're talking about. So it makes sense.
Sure. I wish that I could, like, I don't feel that I always hit all the qualities in my own songwriting. As we do as songwriters, it's like, I don't feel like everything I write is really on the nose, you know?
Right.
With that record in particular, I wrote it all like when I was 18, so it's all like really old to me now. So you know, I just need to like, get it out into the world.
Yeah. Well, I loved it.
Thank you.
You're like, we're all our own worst critics. I mean, Meg and I have talked multiple times to multiple guests about how if you're listening to past music you released and you don't go, oh, that could have been better. Like, why did I make that choice? Then you're not improving and you're not growing, because, you know, there's always going to be things you wish you could change. But from a listener's perspective, it could be the best song they've ever heard.
Right.
Totally.
Everything's interpretive.
So true. Like, not everyone likes Nickelback.
Oh my God.
No. But honestly, I listened to Rockstar on fucking repeat. I downloaded it from LimeWire. Do you remember LimeWire?
Oh my God, yeah.
Like my iPod Nano, and I like was fucking jamming so hard to that song.
Wow. Emma, there are some things you should just keep to yourself, maybe.
It's all interpretive, man.
It's all interpretive.
Emma's like, nope.
I'm not gonna lie about that. Like,
hey, you know, I had a lot of Sean Kingston on my iPhone. Is he canceled? I'm always worried talking about people. I don't know who's canceled and who's not anymore.
I don't know anything about anyone.
Kanye is finally removed from his talent agency. If you guys didn't see that news.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good, right?
Yeah, he got real canceled.
Yeah, as he should have been a while ago, but you know, finally, you know, they're doing something.
Yeah.
So what do you think? This is a long loaded question. What do you think the most difficult? You can always tell the long. Meg and I were on here, not even on the phone, but editing the questions together on the doc, and we
Google
were
Drive.
going through and editing as the other person
Like
was typing.
finishing
I'm
the other
like,
person's sentences.
yeah, I was like, Meg, this is too long. Cut. But what do you think the most difficult parts of being a musician, performer, and songwriter are? And on the other side of the coin, what do you think the most wonderful parts are?
I love that question.
Thank you.
And if you haven't noticed, I like to talk a lot too. Like I'm going to answer all parts of that question.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's going to be long, probably.
That's what we want. I mean,
We're
that's why we
ready.
started a podcast, because we talk all the time.
Yeah. Well, I think that some of the most difficult parts are the same as some of the most beautiful parts. To be really heady off the bat, like
Oh
I
shit,
think
you just blew my mind.
you
You haven't even like went into that, and I'm like, yeah, that's so true. Damn.
I mean, I just noticed that I was gonna kind of be saying the same thing on either side, and like just like everything in life, like it's the polarity, and it's all one cannot be without the other. And I think that, you know, it's a beautiful gift to have in this life, to like be able to alchemize anything into music, into performing, and then on top of that to be able to make money doing it. Like I do it full time, and you know, it's not that I'm like, this is the interesting part, is like I don't do my music full time. I play bass full time, and that's kind of like my job, and then I get to do my project on the side, and that doesn't really make me enough money to live off of, but that's why I've always kind of done bass. But it is like, even like saying that that is my full-time job, is I play upright bass in a band, and now it's like, in, you know, it used to be like 10 different bands because I would just like learn lots of people's songs, and now it's just one, which is really awesome because Big Richard is so busy that I don't play with really anyone else on bass anymore.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's cool. I definitely like miss the variety sometimes because it's a lot of the same, and we, you know, we're learning new songs all the time, but it's still like, being in one band playing as much as we do, it's like, well, it's like a lot of the same, but it's really cool to be able to like say that that is my job, you know, like my full-time job. And I think like living a life like that, where like I don't know what it's like to have a 9 to 5. I don't know what it's like to like go to school, like, because I never did that. I never like, I mean, and there's a lot of me that wishes I would have gone, and I'm trailing off from the question.
It's okay, we do it all the time.
Okay. There's a lot of me that wishes like that I would have gone to music school, because there's so much that I want to learn musically still that I don't have the gumption in myself to like explore on my own. So if I had like teachers to do it with, like, I feel like I would learn a lot more. But it has provided for a very interesting life, you know, like I'm 23, and I've like never worked. I've worked coffee shop jobs. I love making coffee, but I've never worked a job other than that, you know, like I've like never gotten into software. I've never like, you know, thought about being an assistant to anyone. I don't know. And it feels really fortunate because I've always had a really free schedule. I've always been able to like paint and like do whatever I want in the day. And then, you know, the challenging side of that is like, I'm bad at making routines for myself, and I have to do that on my own because I'm like just so free, and my schedule is so wonky. It's like night times, like I wake up every day at like, and I have the whole day, and then I go to work, and then I have the whole day, and my ADHD brain is kicking in. I'm like,
what a mood.
Question again?
Okay. The best and worst parts, but
you most wonderful.
Yeah.
So I think it's really beautiful and really cool to be able to do it full time. Like that's a crazy thing. And then on top of that, like to have the gift at all, like to be able to feel that magic and to be in touch with it and to like be able to practice it is a really special thing. And I think on the flip side of that coin, it makes me like I feel like I'm very in touch with emotions and
Empath.
yeah. I guess I feel like with my own emotions especially, like I feel like I'm just so in that part of life, like living from here and just so like feely everything intense. I'm a Scorpio. My birthday is soon.
Oh, happy birthday.
Thank you. So
I'm scared of Scorpios. I'm so scared. Not as much Scorpio women. Maybe it's just I'm scared of men in general. Men just creep me out. So
valid.
That could be why. But yeah.
Yeah, so I feel like there's an intensity that comes with being in touch with music in the way that I am that is really intense sometimes for me. Like I'm like, I wish I could just be more logical thinking and like a software engineer and or like a nurse or something, you know, and instead I'm just like my whole job and my whole life is like I have to do this all the time to do my job well, you know, and it's like really beautiful and awesome, but it's like really intense. Yeah, and just like I don't know, I feel like it's just a beautiful thing, and it's really fucking hard too. Like it's hard when it's your job, especially the creating part. It's like you can't schedule when you're gonna create something. I mean, you can try and you can show up at your desk and like try to write a song, but like you don't get promotions, you don't like have a schedule. It's just like totally on your own, and it's really hard to, I think, make it, I don't know, like it's hard to make it feel like it's something that you can just like crank out. And then you feel unproductive. It's hard to feel productive, I think, because how do you measure productivity in art and creation? Like you can't really measure that, you know? So you're kind of just living this constant, like, I think I'm doing my best.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. Today, you know, I like picked up the guitar once, you know. I was listening to this podcast with Justin Vernon actually recently.
Ooh.
And I have always told myself that like the days off, the days to do nothing are like really important to my creativity. But I'm like, still when I do that, I'm like, I'm a lazy piece of shit. Like I'm not doing anything. Like like I need to be creating something all the time. And I was listening to this podcast with Justin Vernon, and he was talking about when he made For Emma forever ago. And he went and stayed in his dad's cabin. I'm sure you guys know this story. And he made the whole album by himself. But he said he stayed up there for like 2 months or something, or maybe it was longer than that. But he said that there were like most of the days he would just like wake up in the morning, make himself breakfast, watch this show, and like drink beer all day. And like Justin Vernon, like fucking king of everything, he does that shit, you know? And it's like, cool. That is what being an artist is about a little bit, like the weird life shit that you have to do. But it's hard to like have that be a reality because you're like, to society, everything's going against that kind of thing all the time.
Totally.
Yeah.
Society is like built in this really structured way, and to be a creative and to be creative is not structured. It's very free flowing, like you said. And I think it's so important. Like it was so like what a pivotal moment for you to hear that podcast with him saying that, like someone you look up to. And now it's like, hopefully maybe one day someone that looks up to you will hear this podcast and be like, wow, if Emma Rose can take a day off without picking up the guitar, then so can I. So it's like, I think it's really important to share these feelings that we all feel, because it is very much so a communal feeling of like, I have that all the time when like I'm not writing, I'm just like, oh God, I'm a lazy motherfucking piece of shit. And like I've been taking a hiatus on music kind of stuff just to like make it fun again. And it's been a really hard like mind fuck kind of to like do that and still feel like, no, it's okay. This is a part of the process. It's okay. Like you're not a lazy piece of shit. So that's cool that you say that.
Yeah, and I think that it's just a different kind of job, and society is built so focused on the capitalism kind of job, which it all is, but like I just feel like there's this like really heavy emphasis on you have to work really hard, you have to like be productive Monday through Friday, and then the weekend you can do stuff. And like I don't know, I feel like it's not really, I mean, we used to like lay around in the sun all day and like pick berries and fuck each other, and like that's all we would do. You know, it's like animalistically, like we need to rest and we need to chill the fuck out. And if you don't have space to do that, like when I'm too busy, like I don't have any well to draw from for songwriting. Like I can't do anything then. It's like I need to just like do nothing for many days, and then I can think about writing a song, you know?
Yeah.
But
definitely.
Yeah, I think that would be the most beautiful and most challenging part of it. Like that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
That
whole it's so validating to hear though, you know, because I feel like so many people feel that way. And it's hard until you have these conversations on a podcast or with your friends that are also creative people. To hear that, because everyone's just posting online all their shows they're doing, and I'm releasing another new song, and it's like, okay, they're doing everything like constantly, and here I am sitting around, you know, drinking beer, watching TV, like so it's cool to have those conversations and be like, no, this is not my reality all the time.
And I think social media is like becoming more and more real in those ways. I mean, at least my curated feed is pretty like self-help and like mental health and like, you know, things like that. But I feel like too, artists are being more open about like, you know, we've all been trained to post our best selves on the internet. And, like the in-between times don't really post, you know, like I don't post photos of me having mental breakdowns and like sobbing. You know, I'm not gonna do that. But like
I do, but
I mean, and people are doing that more, and I wish I had the courage. I also just don't remember to take a photo of myself when I'm
true.
A mentee bee, I heard it called recently. Mental break.
Oh my god,
a mentee bee.
That's incredible. No, I've really gotten into the habit of taking a picture every time I'm having a mentee bee and sending it to my friends just to be like, here I am, you know, and
reminder.
Reminder that I'm unwell, but I'm sending this to you. So I'm holding like, because I have the tendency to just kind of keep it all in and not share with people. So I'm like, here it is. I don't want to talk about it, but you can see that I'm losing my mind. And tomorrow it's going to be fine. We're going to be fine. We're going to get through it. But so I have a whole folder on my phone now. That's my embarrassing
I love that
profession. So
mentee bees.
I love that. Wow. We should have come up with that. So
all of that. Yes to all of that. Moving on.
Meg's like, we could have a whole podcast.
A segue.
I was like, we could have a whole podcast just talking about mental health and star signs and everything in between.
So true. And actually, I one more thing to add on to that. When I made my Facebook account when I was 12, I lied and said I was 13. My mom, the one piece of advice she gave to me, which now looking at it in this very moment, I'm like, this is maybe a part of the problem here. But she said, don't post anything you wouldn't want to see on the front page of the local newspaper.
Oh, yeah, right. I feel like I heard that too.
And now I'm kind of like, maybe we should be posting things we don't want on the, just so people normalize it. But that's just a thought.
Everyone has access to all our photos anyway. So, you know?
Yeah. Like, that was probably your mom being like, I don't want you to post nudes on Facebook.
Oh, yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah.
like me, the kid that's like playing imagination like in the yard, like and like
Yeah.
playing guitar in my room by myself to my stuffed animals.
Yeah.
It's like that TikTok theme that's like go anyway. Okay, so which songwriters do you admire and why?
Well, I would say definitely Joni Mitchell, Bob Dylan. That's like old news though, right? So I'm gonna move into like modern day. Adrienne Lenker. She is, I think, like maybe the best songwriter of our time right now.
I would
And
have to agree with that.
I think that just her, like, I don't know. I actually got to like meet her and hang out with her last year. I was like so starstruck. I was just like, we were all hanging out. It was normal. Like we were all at this Kerrville Folk Festival, and I like couldn't even speak because like she's like the one person that I am just like, fucking Jesus, you are a god. She's a god, you know?
Yeah.
But like, you know, and I knew I could sense her way of being before I met her, but then when I hung out with her too, there's just like this kind of rawness about the world, and the way that she writes is that way too, and like really explorative, and like her guitar playing, she like has studied a bunch of classical guitar, so her chord progressions are all really like cool and unique and with weird tunings, and I just feel like she's doing something extremely her, and also extremely like relatable. Like her lyrics are somehow relatable, even though they're like words that I've never even thought to put next to each other, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Similarly, Alice Phoebe Lou, she is,
I think I've heard of her.
you guys gotta check her out.
Oh my god, I need to. I haven't heard of her.
But very similar, like, I don't know, just like kind of like, I feel like they're both just these like, and I don't know, I mean, I don't know them personally, but from their songs, I'm like, man, this person is living, like they're fucking experiencing life. They're soaking in the juice of life, and then they like know how to alchemize it in just such a beautiful way into a song that you can hear and you can feel that in that.
Wow.
So those
You're so well spoken, by the way. Just a note. That's another skill you can add to your resume. I'm listening to you. I'm like, alchemize. What does that even mean? What is like Googling on dictionary.com? Like, what?
That's cool. I like haven't talked to any real people yet today, so that's good to know. This is the thing that I've been doing lately, is just sitting in my house until the evening, not even leaving. I just like do stuff by myself. And I'm like, man, I should go outside sometime. I'm looking at my Spotify now. Those two though, Alice Phoebe Lou and Adrienne Lenker, I think are the like mains of my life. And you know, I really love Gregory Alan Isakov always. He was like my OG, like, I don't know, like I feel like my first like intro to songwriting when I was like 16. Like I listened to him all the time, and I met him too actually last year. So it was a crazy year.
Megan's gonna start fainting right now.
I just orgasmed.
Yeah, but I don't know. I listen to like a lot of R&B too, and just tons of music. I'm always listening to music.
I love that.
Yeah.
Those are some great artists. I'm gonna listen to, say her name again,
Alice Phoebe Lou.
Okay.
I wrote it down.
Okay, good.
Got it.
Yes.
Need to listen. I find myself in a bad habit. I'm making it about me. I'm so sorry. I find myself in a bad habit of listening to the same people over and over again. And I need to start branching out. but it's just like I found my comfort artists. And then sometimes I'll turn on a random playlist and I'm like, I don't like this.
Yeah.
I want to go back to my comfort artists.
Totally. So. I think that I'm the same way. I do some days, like if I'm feeling like I want to branch out, then I will lean into that and like listen to my Discover Weekly on Spotify. Curse Spotify, but like they have just such a good algorithm.
I know.
They know me so well now. And it's like I'm attached. I'm fully attached to Spotify. As much as I want to fucking say fuck you and delete it, like I just can't. Ugh.
So
I know.
Out of your songs that you've written, I know, right? I'm like, we could get on a whole rant about Spotify. I'm like, we got to keep this under time, people.
Yeah.
Which songs that you have written are you proudest of, and why?
I hate talking about this kind of thing.
We're bringing it back to you. No more Adrian Lanker or Alice Phoebe Lou. It's all Emma Rose now.
I don't really know. I don't know that I feel proud of songs. I feel like I feel proud of myself when I can finish one. Like, because that is really hard for me. But I think, I've only made one record, and it was back in 2020. It was 7 songs, and I have way more than that. And I think I felt proud after we recorded the album. I was like, whoa, these sound really cool, and I made these. Fuck yeah, But I don't know. I haven't released them all yet because I'm lazy as fuck and marketing sucks. But I think, I'm proud to see that people respond to stuff. Like the stuff that I have put out has gotten a decent amount of streams, and I feel proud of that. But then why is it that I only feel proud when I have outward affirmation? This is something to look at.
Oh, shit.
Oh, shit.
Oh, shit.
I think the part of it for me, though, the part of it, like, proud of myself, like, that comes from, like, when I just sit down to do it. Like, that's, like, cool. Did I do this, and was I honest in what I said? Did I feel like it was resonating with me? Yes. And there are a few songs that I've written and finished that really feel that way, and like really, there's a sense of pride when I finish it. But I think, man, I play with a band now, and like I've been with this band for like 2 years. And so now anytime I finish a song, I'm like, well, it's not done yet. I need to bring it to the band to add drums and to arrange it. And so I think every time I finish a song on my own, I'm like, cool. This is, I think, my part. I think I'm proud of this. So that didn't answer your question at all. But I don't know if I have an answer for that.
That's okay. I actually have a follow-up question.
Yeah.
Curious. Who does, like, with Big Richard, the band, your, like, main band, do you all co-write together, or do you bring songs in and then you kind of finish them together, or do the other members bring songs in that are already finished? What's the process there?
So in bluegrass, people mostly just play traditional songs. Like there's not a lot of writing that happens in that genre. And it's it happens, but like even Billy Strings and like Sierra Farrell are playing traditional songs, and then they have their own little well of their own songs, but like traditional, it's just like that's what the genre is. It's what already existed, and then you carry it on and do it in your own way.
Yeah.
But me and Bonnie and Joy are all songwriters. So what we've done so far, the band has taken off so fucking fast that we, for a long time, didn't have any original songs because we were just like so busy gigging that we weren't like arranging stuff together. I mean, we arrange all of our covers too, but when you're covering a traditional song, you don't really call it a cover song.
Right.
You know, you're carrying on the tradition or whatever. So I think what we've done now is, like, I think Bonnie's brought 3 songs, Joy's brought 3 songs, and I brought 2. And we just like, and they're songs that we've previously written already that we are bringing to the band. But our goal is, like, especially in this month that we have off, to like start trying to do some co-writing. And the songs that I write are like really not in the style of Big Richard at all.
Yeah.
That's been a thing. Like, I have some that kind of fit the vibe, and so I've brought those songs to them, but like it's been challenging for me to write for that band because I'm like, my style naturally is not time bluegrass folk, you know.
Interesting.
But I did recently write a song for Big Richard, like specifically, and I think I'm gonna try to get more into that space. And Bonnie's doing the same, and Joy's doing the same, and we're all just gonna come together and arrange that stuff.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Cool. I was curious, so
yeah.
Thank you for answering that.
We're still figuring it out, is the short answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's that time. It's the last question. Ooh.
Ooh.
Caroline, hit it.
Oh, it's me?
It's you, baby.
As I'm about to take a sip of coffee. Why do you write songs?
I think I write songs because it feels like crying to me. Feels like I'm having a good sob. And I think to elaborate on that, it would be like, you know, it's movement of energy. It's movement of like this thing that flows through me. Like I talk about alchemizing, like that's what that is, you know. And I feel like as someone who has had the experiences that I've had in my life, like music and songwriting are like the only things that I really like know how to do, you know. And we talk, like, I can paint, but that's another form of that. Like I feel like I don't spend a lot of time in the like shallow end of life. And songwriting is really deep. Songwriting is real deep end. And it obviously can be shallow end too, but I think that, you know, it's like crying, it's like falling in love, it's like eating really dank food. It's like, it's one of those really juicy parts of life that I want to like soak myself in. And that's why.